Okay, so to start, do you just want to introduce yourself, your first name, your last name, your age, yourself, anything about yourself you want to get into?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Lindsey Yeager. I'm 25. I used to live in Milwaukee, and now I am based in Colorado. So I work at Anderson Ranch Arts Center out in Snowmass. But yeah, previously I went to MyAd and I was a graphic designer for a while in Milwaukee. But I'm originally from Madison.
Sweet. So you're from Wisconsin, but you moved to Colorado. What
Yeah.
are some differences in the art scenes that you notice as somebody that's worked in both of those?
I'll say it's different in a lot of ways, partially because of the kind of work that I do in my day-to-day life too. So everything that I was doing back when I lived in Milwaukee, was like illustration and design realm work. So, I was very much doing like client-based work. At the same time though, Milwaukee was a very good place for me to get a start as a studio artist. So I did, the Blossom Initiative Bridgework residency, which is run by Jason Yee and Leah Kolb. That is like an emerging artist program for anyone who had graduated that year from any school near Milwaukee. But I did that program that got me through and really like gave me a foundational start in terms of my gallery career in the first year that I got out of school. And then I was continued to work with VAR in Milwaukee, and at this point I'm represented by them, and I have a solo show coming up on May 11th. So I'll say Milwaukee is a very friendly place for emerging artists. Meanwhile, yeah, Aspen is a little bit different because what I have more so is like a really tight community of people with goals like mine, working at Anderson Ranch. So a lot of what I have is like camaraderie that's similar to what I had when I was in college. Lots of like studio visits and advice and just ongoing conversation about what we're doing. So,
Love. Okay, how would you describe just yourself as an artist outside of any community?
That's a good question. It's a complicated question too. Because I do so many different things. I think the way that I work within like the illustration realm and any kind of commercial work is very different from what I'm doing as a painter. Where I'll say like the work that I do in terms of illustration has more of just an outwardly fun vibe to it. Meanwhile, the stuff that I'm doing in terms of like paintings in the studio, a lot of it is kind of outwardly really bright and exciting, but has a lot of like deep dark undertones to it.
Well, I love that. And also, I can see that. I stalked a lot of your art before this call, so I see that a lot. And some of it's like, it's bright and poppy, but kind of like carnal with a lot of your nature imagery. So anyways,
yeah, I kind of describe myself as like a feminine rage painter.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
It's like that.
So is there anything about designing for a film festival as an artist that drew you to this kind of a project?
I really love doing work where I have so much source imagery and so much history to combine down into one image. That is, I think, the most exciting thing about working on a project like this. Like, film is such a loaded subject. And it was really exciting to be like pulling references from some of the earliest films ever made, and then some of those references were used in later films that I love. Like an example being like the jockey and the horses in my poster. Like that is one of the very first films ever made, and then like that reference was made also in like Jordan Peele's Nope, and that was actually the last movie I saw at Oriental before I moved away. So
That's awesome. I worked Nope for so long, and that was a really good one. Also,
it is one of my favorite movies ever.
not at all what I expected. The monkey, any
no.
of it. But, well, so that being said, as an artist, do you have like a favorite film or a movie that you really are attached to? Any movie at all?
Okay, I have it's almost like different categories. Like, my like serious favorite is Hereditary. I love horror. I love how complicated it is. I love that is a film that you have to watch like at least 3 times to fully catch every single thing that they're throwing at you.
Yeah.
But I'll say my funny but also real answer is Night at the Museum. It's another one of my favorite movies ever.
That's a great choice.
It's like my comfort flick for sure.
Wow. That's a wonderful choice. Okay. I guess then I'm going through these so fast, but you have really fun answers. What is your creative process like usually? And then what was it like for a project like this?
Yeah. I guess I'll start with talking a little bit about what my process looks like for painting, because that's primarily what I'm doing right now. But a lot of what I do begins with some amount of research, or like my work a lot of the time comes from nature. I'm like studying a natural phenomenon and really like picking apart what it means if you were to like translate that thing into the domestic world. So I look at things like defense mechanisms and like animals in unusual situations, flowers that are anomalies. And I'm very interested in things like that. And I tend to formulate concepts around like kind of those basic ideas before I sketch anything. And then everything that I make is sketched digitally and then painted in gouache. So as far as illustration goes, I mean, a project like this, there's actually kind of a lot of overlap with the way that the working process went. In terms of like, there's a lot of research involved with looking at all these images, but also like understanding the people who made this work as well. And for sure, like trying to figure out, like we had this ongoing dialogue about the idea of like women in early film, how they were completely erased, where like the subject of those cabbages, Alice Guy, it's like, yeah, of course it's not as recognizable as like the horses or like A Trip to the Moon, George Millet, but like that's kind of the point, you know.
It's just as important to the history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cabbage is great for everyone. Great for the color.
Yeah, it's good for you.
What are you looking to work on in the future? Or what are you currently working on? What do you want us to look out for from you?
So, yeah, the What's Up with Lindsey thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently working on my debut solo exhibition. So that'll be at Bar Gallery. It opens on May 11th of this year. So, yeah, I have about 10 weeks left to make the work, and then I'm coming back to Wisconsin.
That's so exciting.
I'm more excited. So that is the biggest thing that I have going. I also am doing a group exhibition at Red Brick Center for the Arts in Aspen. The exhibition is called Fortune Teller. It's a work all about the future. Yeah, and I'm continuing to work with Milwaukee Film on other projects that'll be coming up in the summer. So
Sweet.
That's kind of what I'm doing. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we'll look out for all of that. That sounds amazing.